Welcome. It's your boy Mike, and this is this week's Raptor podcast, where I don't have a lot of topics. I don't got a lot of topics to talk about this week. I feel like it was a slower news time. I did make a video, hopefully you watched it, about Scotty Barnes and how honestly I just don't think we should be having the highest expectation for Scotty Barnes. Not because we don't think he's good. That's far from it. Far from the thought of we think he's good or not. Because we all think Scotty Barnes is amazing. It's more to the point that we have to understand that he's still a young player. Scotty Barnes is still growing. I hear sometimes people expecting. I saw on Instagram someone said 20 points a game, like 28 and 5 for Scotty. I understand what we saw for Scotty, right? Here's the thing. That's just not going to happen. And if it does, that is amazing. Like, he's on the trajectory of a Hall of Famer. He's on the trajectory of all-time great. Players like Luka, that happened to. That didn't happen. It even happened for someone like Kobe or something. Like Shaq was a different person. One of the more underrated players of all time. Literally has become more underrated than overrated throughout the generations. But Scotty, we all know how good he is. All I'm saying is let's not overdo it here. Let's not give him the mantle of greatest Raptor of all time already. We gotta wait. We have to wait. Just wait some time. That's all I'm saying. Wait, this is not the season. Next season. Quite frankly, the Raptors team as a whole. You know what? I didn't write this down in my rundown, but we'll talk about this. And thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys subscribe and follow, and we can talk more Raptors. When I say this, I mean this. The expectations for the Raptors shouldn't be that high. In the sense of, like, I would like to see them make it to the second round. I would like it. Like, that would be my hope. But honestly, that hope is because of what happened this year. We didn't expect them to be a top 5 team. In most cases, we were picking them to beat Philly. Even Americans were picking Toronto to beat Philly. Legit believing Toronto can beat Philly. So I understand the expectation would be to make it to the second round. Now, in saying all that, though that's the expectation, how we have to see it as well is this. Last year wasn't supposed to go down the way it did. But it did. That's one. Last year it went down the way it did, and we didn't think so. 2, the East is way better now. Like, even the Knicks are better. The Hawks are better. I think the one team that got worse out of everybody is the Hornets. And some would argue the Heat got worse. But the Heat still have Bam and Jimmy. They'll find someone. I think everyone's believing that Omar Yurtseven's is going to have a great season. So the East got better. So when it comes to the Raptors, last year was a really good season. The East is better now. We shouldn't expect what we're thinking we're going to expect this season. Philly's better. Boston's better. Milwaukee's still Milwaukee. Miami's still there. We still got teams like Cleveland. Detroit's still probably going to beat us 3 times. So our expectations of the Raptors this year should be tempered a little bit. Maybe we shouldn't expect the second round. We may want it, but don't expect it. Because if we make it to the second round now, we're thinking it's third round or bust. And then we're thinking in Scotty's 4th year in the league, we're thinking championship or bust for this team. That's just not how it works. That's not what's going to happen. We've seen how hard it is to win a title. A lot of luck goes involved with winning a title. A lot of growth from players happen. It doesn't happen overnight. Unless you get a KD or like the time got Kawhi. So as much as I say we should chill our expectations for Scotty Barnes, quite frankly, Raptor fans, we may have to chill our expectations for the Raptors. As much as I want to say 50 wins, I really would like to say 50-plus wins because it's also enjoyable to watch. It's just also as personally, you just want to watch them win that much games. Personally speaking, you want to watch them, do that. That's not the way it happens. That's not easy. We're not just gonna win 50 games in such a much stronger East. Even the West is a little bit stronger. Teams like the Pelicans are gonna be better. Sacramento's better. I'm gonna make a video about Sacramento soon. I'm a big fan of Sacramento right now. Really big fan. Probably because people hate on them so much. That's what makes it. But yeah, our expectations as Raptor fans, it shouldn't be that high. We shouldn't be thinking that this team is going to, we're going to be a top 4 team or top 3 team and make it past the second round. You know what? All these are hopes. I hope so. Because if we're that good of a team, that means Pascal had a good season. That means OG was probably better. Gary was good. Fred got into his role. And Scottie was much better. So I'm okay with it if that happens for us. I just don't expect it to happen for us. And I don't think you guys should either. This is where sometimes I feel like I disagree with a lot of Raptors Twitter. And I mean people who are verified or who are on Raptors Twitter for talking about Raptors a lot more frequently. This is where I disagree. I feel like your expectations are too high. I feel like your knowledge of ball is sometimes very limited. And people can say the same thing about me, and I get that. I just can watch someone and go I think you're wrong. I don't think you're right. I think you're wrong. I don't think the Raptors are going to be this 56-win team. I saw someone really say they're going to be a 56-win team. Come on. Not in that East. That East is good. The East is good. Real good. Like I said, the West is no joke either. I think this season, there's always one standout team. There will be a standout team, which I think will probably be the Boston Celtics. But I think everyone else can be average. Every game is going to count. I think the season could be really good. I truly think every game can count. I think the Raptors can be 47 and 35 and potentially be third place. I think the East is so, together. Only 2 teams are standing out, is Boston and Milwaukee. I think everyone else can be so even. But they're just jockeying in for positions. You have a nice long stretch, it goes well. But my expectations are just not high. They're not high. I still think this year is about development. I could be crazy, but I still think this year is about development. Pascal becoming a more complete player. Fred becoming more off ball. Gary Trent becoming a third, a fourth option, a third, depending on the night. But I really mean more coming off the bench, being that spark plug. OG, to be honest, embracing the role of a 3-and-D wing. I know he wants to be more of a 2-way wing, like a Paul George, but I think he could be more of I think he could be more of a Mikal Bridges type, as I see. But he is right now like that. But I think that's not a bad thing. You can still get paid being that guy. The thought process that you can't get paid being that guy. You can still get paid being that guy. But I know OG wants more. But I think if OG embraced it, then it's good. So my expectations aren't the greatest for the Raptors. I just want to see growth. See them become the team that we think they can be. Chris Boucher becoming a better bench guy. Once he embraced his role, he got better. The fact that he thought, and this is kind of, bad on him, to be honest. It's bad on Boucher, but he admitted it. That he thought to himself, he was still potentially a guy. And I mean a guy in the sense of one of the options, number one options. And he realized, you know what? I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm looking at, Fred, Pascal. I'm not them. I'm not them. But I can be spectacular in my own role. And he was. That's why he got paid. He deserved that. I think, Every team's going to want, there's certain type of players you want on your team. Every team wants an OG. That's why I get it. If I'm ever trading OG, I'm getting something great. You're giving me some draft picks. You're giving me something special. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trading OG for nothing. Now, if you think you're going to lose him, then you trade him for what you can get. But I'm trading OG for something. I want some draft picks, some young players potentially. It's hard to find an OG, you know? It really is. No matter if you have a Precious, that's right there. It doesn't matter. It's hard to have an OG. But like even Precious, you know, seeing his growth develop. Now we're all looking at Precious and we're like, oh my gosh. Right now we're falling in love with Precious the way we fell in love with Pascal back in the day. We saw all we're like, this guy can be really good. Let's get this guy more touches. Hence why in my video I didn't even talk about Precious. You want to see Precious play more. Expectations should be that we want to see this team develop within themselves, become better. You know, I plan to make a video eventually saying that when the Raptors do win a title, the team that you're looking at right now, don't expect the same team when that happens. Now, I don't want to go too deep in it, but just look at the roster with DeMar and Kyle. Look at the roster when they win the title. And I mean the players who are playing. The Boucher was kind of there little, but really wasn't doing shit until all of those people left. So, makes you think. Now, my actual first topic, I went on a spiel just now because that's what I do, was about Jalen Harris. A guy who I'm actually very disappointed that he didn't play last year. I'm very disappointed about the whole substance thing. He admitted he took something, but he didn't take anything to enhance his performance. It was more like he took something to make his body feel better, and it's one of those banned substances, whatever. Where I don't think a year suspension should be warranted, in all honesty. I think it's a little bit too much. I think it's a lot to suspend someone for a whole year for something that wasn't performance enhancing. He didn't perform better because of it. So I don't know. I think that's a little sticky situation. I kind of disagree with it. That's just my opinion. Now, that being said, Jalen Harris and the Scarborough Shooting Stars, they made it to the CBL finals. It was a good game. The Elam ending happened, whatever. Well, Jalen Harris is back. He's reinstated. I know Blake Murphy. Shout out to Blake Murphy. I know he's probably not listening to this at all, but Blake Murphy is one of the nicest guys in the industry. On a side note, I met Sherman Hamilton in Niagara Falls. Took a picture with him. Shout out to Sherm. Great guy. Probably was like, this random guy wants to take a picture with me. Sorry, Sherm. I did want to take a random picture with you. You're great. You're amazing. You're cool. Blake Griffin's GOAT, though. I mean, Blake Murphy's GOAT. Blake Murphy legit GOAT. Blake Murphy like Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Straight up. I don't care what anyone tells me. Blake Murphy like that. He's just that nice of a person. He's just that guy. I haven't heard one person say anything negative about Blake Murphy. If you say something negative about Blake Murphy, it's a problem. I'm just saying. I'm just talking. I'm just saying. But now in saying that, going back to my spiel, as you can tell in the second podcast, I just talk. I love ball. I'm talking to myself in the mirror right now while talking to you. It's just natural conversation for me. Talking to people about this. Eventually, maybe more structured, not robotic. I don't like that robotic stuff. More structured, But Jalen Harris, he was reinstated. I believe Blake Murphy had said that it's either he's going to sign Exhibit 10 or... Because Raptors still have the rights on him, but I believe you do Exhibit 10. That's potential for someone else to still come get you or whatever. Now I want to see Jalen Harris play. See, once again, I'm in this stage of watching the Raptors that I want to see development. Of course I want to win the title. There's no doubt I want to win the title. But I don't believe this team is there to win the title yet. So since I don't believe it, I want to see what we can do with what we have. I want to see the pieces that we can get. I want to see the pieces that I want to watch them perform and see the thing I don't want to lose games. It's weird, right? It's such a balance of I don't want to lose games, but I want to see the Justin Champagnes, the Delano Bantons, heck, Malachi Flynn. I want to see them all play. And Jalen Harris falls in that category. I want to see him play. I actually want to see Jalen Harris play. He played well for the Shooting Stars. Led him to the finals. Almost led him to win the game. It was just the Elam ending that screwed him over. But the way they were going, if that wasn't for the Elam ending, I think they came back 15 plus points. That's crazy. And all the team had to score was 1 point. That's crazy. But they did their thing. So, but yeah, I really would like to see him get back into the Raptors. I'm okay if he plays 905, let him still develop. I say this to say this. Gary Trent Jr. technically is on a contract year. Even though technically he has an option. He has his own player option. He can take it if he has a bad season. He really could. But we all think he's not going to take it. He's going to go for the bag, as he should. He should potentially wait for the CBA because he has potential making more money. I think the CBA, unless it's this year, I don't know when the CBA is, but he's potentially making more money if he, waits till I think an extra year, because people are about to get paid. Now, but if Gary Trent Jr. leaves, I wouldn't mind thinking to myself that Jalen Harris has the potential of filling in that role. And I know the Tampa season, some would say, was an outlier for a lot of players, like a Malachi Flynn was an outlier. There's a center that we were falling in love with. His name is mistaken in my brain right now, but we fell in love with him. He sang "Party in the USA," Gillespie. We fell in love with him, but he wasn't that guy. In some sense, and some Raptor fans don't want to admit it, we fell in love with Utah. Fell deep in love with Utah. And quite frankly, every time he got the opportunity, he didn't do anything with it. Because he's everything that, the Raptors need, right? As a 3-and-D wing. But he didn't do the 3. He didn't shoot 3 well. Well, Jalen Harris is not a great defender. But he can kind of get to his own, get to his basket. And, if he hits a jumper consistently, he can get minutes. And I wouldn't mind that, I want to see the progression of Jalen Harris. I want to see him, join the Raptors training camp. Everyone's talking about the person got to let go of Shvi so you can have an extra roster spot. The more and more it's looking like that's going to happen. But it's crazy because the argument is that Shvi's your best 3-point shooter, but there's no proof of that. His numbers don't prove that. I think he may have had one good season, but once again, in listening to Blake, it's never been the case that Shvi is that guy who, and then quite frankly, once again, development. You're trying to develop Shvi? Is he a guy that you see in the future? No. Can Jalen Harris be that guy you see in the future? Yes. So let's do something with it. That's what I'm thinking. I want to see what Jalen Harris can do. If he did what he did with the Toronto Raptors and with Shooting Stars, and I know in Italy he was okay, but at the end of the day, he's in a new country, a real new country, new environment, a lot of differences, and he just wanted to come back. Him joining the Shooting Stars was no fluke. He did it on purpose. He stayed in Scarborough on purpose to tell Masai, to tell Bobby, to tell Nick, I'm committed to Toronto. I'm here for Toronto. And that's what I think he showed. That's why I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I still want to give him opportunity. He, sometimes to me, can be one of those players that you have him, he goes away, and then he does some good things, and you're like, shoot, I could have kept him. Go Shea Brissett. I kind of wish we kept him. I understand it would have been a log jam. He didn't shoot the 3 particularly well at the time. So you weren't thinking that he could have been in the mix. But you think if you could have had like another like big who can crash the boards, not really more of a wing who can crash the boards, can spell OG sometimes, guard, it would help. Athletic. It would help a lot. But now he flourished in Indiana. He'll probably get traded too, because Indiana, I don't know what they're trying to do, but once again, I'm kind of confused at the whole DeAndre Ayton thing that they're trying to do. So, but that's what I want to see with Jalen Harris. I want to see the Raptors actually give him an opportunity. This could be with the 905. This can be with like anywhere. I want to see him still with the Raptors organization. I want to see what they can get him to do. I hope he can join those Rico runs. Because if he joins Rico runs, just like everyone else, you can see like the development in him. But that's my Jalen Harris. A quick thing about Malachi again. I keep talking about Malachi because he, to me, has become one of the most interesting guys throughout the summer. We're not taking it in. He's become so interesting because he does the thing on the Jamal Crawford Pro-Am. He did his thing on Ryerson in Toronto for Toronto's Pro-Am. And I'm thinking, like, this guy's scoring points. But when we see him, like in Rico, he didn't play the greatest. He was okay. I think, we're still also fearful that he's not going to be that good. But I keep thinking to myself, how is he playing this well sometimes? And it's just like, do you want to see more of Malachi Flynn? I keep saying I do, but I want to see Delano Banton. I want to see everyone else. See, I already made my next video of how I want to see the development of this team. Like, I'm all for development. I'm all for let these guys just play. And whatever the results happen. I'm arguably, and probably because we got Scotty, I think we can have the same magic again. I don't want to tank because I think it's a waste of Pascal and Fred's years, in all honesty. It's definitely a waste of their years. I just also want to see the young players play. Just the same way like Kyle and DeMar. Kyle and DeMar, we saw Fred, Pascal, OG, Norm, play DeLon, Pirtle. We saw like all these guys play. That's how the bench mob came, right? We saw them play. I want to see the same thing. We did get some vets in Otto, Thad, and Chris Boucher, because at the end of the day, the vets are what made us win the NBA Finals. Let's just keep it 100. Young guys don't make you win NBA Finals. Look at the numbers. Look at the people, their age that they won. Golden State's one of the older teams in the league. They have some young guys to make them look younger, but the guys who played were much older. Much older. Everyone was technically past 28. With like Wiggins being one of the youngest guys. Otto Porter actually being like one of the younger starters on the team. I think he's like the second youngest starter because he's younger than Clay, I think. And Steph is older and Draymond's older. So it's always the vets that like do well. But I just want to see what the end of the bench could be. And quite frankly, a lot of times you get these guys to play, and it sounds bad, but you trade them. We traded JV, DeLon, CJ for Marc Gasol. Imagine if you can trade, I'm just spitballing, Chris Boucher, Jalen Harris, and Malachi Flynn for freaking like Miles Turner. Because Indiana's like, those three guys we're bringing in are actually very good. We want to see what they can do. We want to see what Malachi can do. Like, I'm just saying, like, you develop because you want to see what can happen. And that Pro-Am with Malachi, again, is confusing. Because you're like, is this you, Malachi? Is it? I just want to know, is it you? Because I can't be swindled again. I like Malachi. I want to see him play. I get the whole Desmond Bain, we could have had him, blah, blah. Move on. It's past 3 years now. But I want to see it with Malachi. I believe in Malachi. There's a YouTuber called Pee Wee the Plug. He had a video. This was like last year where he said he believed in Malachi. But unfortunately, he wasn't getting minutes. Yeah, I think that's the dilemma. It's crazy how we're still talking about last year's drafts. Or like 2 years ago now, the Jalen and Malachi. They've become very interesting players. Very interesting players on Raptors. Like, just become so interesting. I want to see what they can do. Just like everyone else, Delano, Champagny. I want to see all them guys play. It's hard to, you know, really look at this team and you want to see greatness, but you're seeing Malachi, you're seeing Jalen Harris, you're hearing good things about both players. You're hearing good things about Batten. You're hearing good things about Champagny. And you're like, how do we not get these guys more minutes? And that's the thing we keep focusing on is the Raptors rotation. How are they going to do this? Nick doesn't have to play Fred 8 minutes a game. But if you want to win, maybe you have to. It's a gift and a curse. But you know what? I think I've dived on. I did not think I was going to talk this. My main topic was about to be Jalen Harris, and I had some other topics. But I may just hold off on those ones. I think I normally I want to do our podcast, to be honest. I think those are nice, especially when you have a longer drive. You guys can listen to a long podcast, or you're cleaning your house, whatever. It's there for you. But this one's going to be a little shorter. Make sure you guys watch the videos I have out, the gaming video, and then talking about Scotty Barnes. The gaming one's actually going to come out later, just more the middle of the week. So, but like and subscribe. We'll talk more. If you guys have topics you want to talk about, let's talk about it. Follow me on Twitter and everything. We can talk. You guys have a good one. We'll talk soon. Peace.